Apple just announced iBooks Author. With iBooks Author, it is easy to publish a book into the iBooks particular store inside of Apple, and we'll go into that in just a minute. So I've already installed the software available in the App Store, and if I go to File and then New from Template Chooser, that's the way it looked when I first loaded it, you'll see that there are a few templates to choose from, and this is supposed to help me make a book very easily. So I'll click on this template and click Choose. And what you see on the left-hand side is where I could go to enter in the title of the book and just simply click and edit my information. I also can see this Intro to Media area, so I can drag and drop all of my media into this particular layout. That way I can add it into the rest of the book later. The table of contents, of course, I'm guessing as you make chapters and sections, you can come back and make sure that lines up correctly. And the glossary is supposed to be really easy to add in terms. So just by clicking the plus option, you can put in whatever the term is and your definition along with any other information here on the side. Here is a template that's roughly started, as we could see, and I can put in, for instance, rename the chapters, add in different photos. I can go into some of the sections. So here's the section layout, and then inside of that is the next page. So if I wanted to continue, I can, in the top left, say if I'm going to add in a chapter, a section, or another page. So maybe I want a 3-column page to follow this. And then I could, of course, go in and fill in all my information. And there we go. You can also toggle between the different views. So you get page thumbnails, outline view, your glossary toolbar, and then some typical Mac features that are familiar for Pages users. You can change the page layout orientation. Of course, all the things like text aligning and that are still exactly where we left them in the other apps. We see that we can, again, add in a specific text box over something. We can also add in some shapes and some tables, charts, widgets, etc. The widgets is pretty interesting. We can drop a keynote presentation right inside of our book. We could also add in a video that would be media here. You would host that information yourself and just drop the code into your site or do something like a YouTube video. The gallery area will be some photos. The 3D option is great for textbooks in terms of showing detailed information. You can rotate the objects around if you're browsing it from an iPad or an iPhone. Also, the interactive image is going to be somewhat similar in its nature to the 3D, and then you have HTML, so really the sky's the limit. You can design your own little widget and drop it into the page. The preview option shows you what your book would look like, and if I had any connected at the time, which I don't, it would open it up over on my iPad. The publish option is just the little book arrow at the top here, and that would allow me to save this information and send it up to iTunes at a later time. And then we see our typical buttons for inspector, media, colors, and fonts. Also with this, what we can do is that, let's go through some of the menu bars at the top of the screen. At the top we see preferences, and inside the preferences we can, under general, define if we want to see the template or not, put the rulers on all the time or not, and determine what in autocorrection that we would like. Also in this area, you can provide some feedback, which should be interesting. The services just takes you out to normal Apple service preferences. You can hide the app and quit it, obviously, in the normal places. What we see under File, though, is if, again, we go to Export here, it's the same as the Publish area in the other arrow. What we could do is export it out as a PDF if we'd like, and we could also just create a plain text file as well. What that means is that we are not able to publish this information, and again, if I go to File and Publish, saves it locally, and then you could go into iTunes Producer to send it out. We are not able to share this information as a file that can be available in any of the other bookstores. So this can only be available by somebody that's running iBooks Author for Mac, iBooks for iPad, or as a standalone PDF without any of the functionality. So this will not necessarily help make your Kindle book or your Barnes & Noble Nook book any more creative. So that's kind of a drawback at this time from what I can see. The different options under the different drop-downs are basically the same as what we see across the normal screen. We can flip our objects and change all kinds of colors and media styles and normal controls in the window in the help area. You can see I did a help for EPUB and got nothing. So at this time, it would be a sloppy way to do it, but if you want to go from iBooks out to something, you could pull it through a PDF and then into the next program, or you could get all the text file and still have to lay out all your pictures and any of your other media that you're trying to embed if the other platforms work for that. So it's an interesting program. That's our first hands-on look at the iBooks author.